Okay. Well, we'll be in a second. And the wind is going to play havoc.
Oh, yeah.
I was messing around because I wasn't prepared for the show. So I don't have my mic set right. I got to get onto the show on my thing. I think this is just part of the show now. It's just the daily struggle of us.
It's old PA equipment.
I thought you were going to say old people.
No, old PA.
I was
just
getting
sent him
ready
a
to
picture
be
of some
offended.
old.
No, Amy sent me something with some old gear she has.
It's from the synagogue. There was a PA system there.
The mower going, I can't hear it.
Oh, okay.
Well, once we do the traveling show, that PA equipment might work well.
It's a billion years old.
So what? If it works,
I don't think so. I don't know.
We'll have to test it.
I can test it out.
Yeah, because we might need some people. Like if we
Right.
go to
If you
some
want
bar,
I'll get it before it goes to the
if
dumpster.
we go to some bar or restaurant and we're having a conversation, we want other people to hear us. We're gonna need a little bit of that.
Yeah, you just need the tailgater, like what Julian brings to parties. That tailgater thing. You need.
Yeah,
one of those.
I have one of those.
Yeah.
Too. I just like maybe I'm just having some nostalgic
morning,
feelings
everyone.
about using some old PA equipment.
You feeling
You know what I mean?
nostalgic?
Like maybe that would be kind of retro.
Or-
You know what I mean?
yeah. All right, I'll schlep it home if you want to look at it. At the very least, you could pull it apart for the copper and sell it.
Yeah, I can come pick it up in the truck.
All right, we'll work it out.
All right, we'll work it
It's
out.
just sitting over there.
All right, so
we got a bunch of people watching our banter.
So you got to start calling them out because I'm not on the show yet. I'm
okay.
sorry.
Audra,
The Hammer Ross.
Chris, Susie,
Chris
Diane,
Golden wants everyone to know.
and Pam Gormish. Hi, Pam. Nice to see you.
Chris Golden wants everyone to know that I am not a single dad. I'm not a single dad. I have a girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just putting that out there.
All right.
That was
So back off, ladies.
back off, ladies. I changed my personal profile. I am now a female who is interested in men. Yeah, on Facebook.
All
Yeah,
right.
just see what happens.
Just to see what happens.
I'm socially liberal.
All right.
What difference does it make?
We're just throwing everything out
Gender
there.
fluid. I think that's the new thing to be, right?
I don't think you're gender fluid, man.
Uh,
Deb Penrod is watching.
my stepmom.
Yes.
I'm now on the show.
Chris Whitehawk, that's your friend from.
And I keep getting busy and I keep forgetting to call Chris. Chris and I grew up together here on No Hanover in the 100 block. And Chris and I spent a lot of time.
He's a No Hano OG?
He's a No Hano OG. Yeah, he lived right down the street from me. And I grew up with him. And he had a couple brothers. And we ran all over this neighborhood.
I'm sure there are some stories.
There's all kinds of stories. I think the main story that we had was that Chris and I, back in those days, just didn't have a lot of money. Like, our respective families just did not have a lot of money. So we were always coming up with some way to get money to go to Hatfields, which is the corner store.
I call that the Ralph Cramden. You were always having a Ralph Cramden scheme of getting
always
rich
something.
quick.
I mean, I think some of the stuff that we hit upon was like we used to go down to the park and go around and get the old glass Coke bottles.
With a deposit on
Yeah,
it?
with a deposit
Sure.
on it. But
valid.
Mr. Hatfield caught on to that because the Coke bottles weren't coming from his store.
But so he had to pay you the 5 cents.
Yeah, he had to pay us 5 cents.
Well, and theoretically, when he turned those back
Yeah, he
into the
should've got 'em,
bottler,
but
he got the 5 cents. But
for whatever
it was
reason,
aggravating to him.
It was
for-
aggravation for him. It
You
was-
crazy kids.
You crazy kids.
Right.
We tried to
So,
open up credit accounts.
speaking-
Chris and I tried to open up credit accounts at the candy store. That didn't go. We tried
were
to.
a wheeler and dealer even back
we
in
were
the day.
trying to see, maybe Mr. Hatfield would let us run a little
Right.
line of credit or something.
Right.
Why
And
not?
you
Right.
were going to try to maybe use that credit to sell candy to other kids at a markup and then, right?
Yeah.
Running the scam. All right. Bill Brogley's here. Robert Flam is here. Ray.
William
Jesse.
Paul Barogli,
Oh
Esquire.
no! Pam lost her top fan badge during.
What?
Her,
How
she
did
took
she-
a little break. She took a little break from Facebook, so. But I'm glad to see you back.
I'm on the wrong video now.
Yeah.
I got onto the wrong video.
All right, we were distracting you with stories of childhood money making schemes.
I'm going to give my phone to Kev, and he's going to have to get me on this show.
We need the youngster to figure out how to get into the show. Right.
When Kev told me how old he was, it made me feel old.
Excuse me? I think I'm probably older than Kevin's parents. Oh, all right. Audra the Hammer says that Art Fusion will be doing a free live Zoom art class on Saturday. I love Art Fusion.
Now, remind me if they had already had. They were having an online virtual art opening.
Art opening. I believe that was last week.
That was last week.
I saw some pictures of that, and we're more confused than ever. Yes, we are Porchcast 37, Bobby.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm going to show you what I made in my last class that Amy and I took at Art Fusion. It was so much fun.
Art Fusion has great programs. My son, Andrew, my oldest son, Andrew, is a very good artist. And I used to sign Andrew up for classes at Art Fusion.
I know him.
Oh, that is cool.
Isn't it cute?
Man, that looks like you could, sell those.
Sonny.
That's like pro
his
grade,
name.
pro
His
level.
name is Sonny. But he usually is out in one of my planters, but I brought him in for the winter because I didn't want him to crack. But
Yeah.
there he is. That
Now-
was a super fun project Amy and I did.
Yeah, they have great programs there. I have over the years required my kids to be involved in something every season. So
Either a or a
sports,
band or art.
sports, music, art. They have to do something. They can join a club.
Right.
I mean, I don't. Now, my kids have primarily picked sports because that was their choosing, and of course, being a former jock, that kind of suited
Right. Oh
me
yeah,
just
we've
fine.
had this conversation before
Yeah.
because we are not a sports family.
Right, but
My people, we don't do sports.
my kids did. Andrew took the classes at Art Fusion, and he really learned a lot of different stuff in there, and it did improve his ability as an artist.
Great.
And so I would recommend Art Fusion.
Yeah,
to
we've
people.
bought a lot of stuff over there over the years, and supported them and taken classes, and they've got a really, really great space. It's a real great asset to Pottstown.
Right.
Yep. Oh, some new names. Well, Nicole Matz is here. Joe Moran and Donna Dobbs.
Joe Moran
and
is a
Vika
friend.
Wasco. These are all new names that I don't
Joe
recognize.
Moran's been on the show before.
Okay.
He's a friend of mine.
Welcome back.
I went to high school with Joe, and Joe and I used to ride skateboards together up in Perkiomenville with our friends, the Noonans.
Yeah. So, hey,
Donna
I was
Smola
talking to
Dobbs
my
is a friend
in-laws
of mine
last
from high
night
school.
about the different neighborhoods of Pottstown
Yeah,
that we
okay,
were
so
talking
let's
about.
get into this.
Yeah, so they said that where they used to live, which was High Street at Roland or Mount Vernon, right?
High
so
and Mountain. Okay, yeah.
The 1100 block of High Street.
Yes.
They said back that southeastern section of town used to be called Pumpkin Town.
Pumpkin Town. I
Right.
have never heard of that.
Yeah.
If somebody else can bring me up to speed on Pumpkin Town.
Right.
Now, I would have guessed that Pumpkin Town, if there was a neighborhood in Pottstown called Pumpkin Town,
Right.
it would have been closer to where the Mrs. Smith's pie factory used to be.
That was my first guess also, but Mrs. Smith's was more like
Well, right
Sohana.
down on it's
Yeah.
right down on South Hanover. Their factory was there
Yeah.
at South Hanover.
Maybe there
and
was
South.
farms over there back in the day.
Maybe there was. We'll have to look
Where's
at
Mike
some old
Snyder?
maps.
We need to get Mike Snyder on that.
Mike, I don't know if Mike Snyder has ever tuned into the show. He's
know.
one of these guys that's kind of trying to figure out Facebook. One of these older
Yeah,
folks.
but he knows.
He does. He knows a lot of stuff. He's
Yeah.
well researched
Yes.
too, and I like his research because he tries as much as possible to go to firsthand sources.
Yeah.
But so what I thought was that maybe it was closer to Mrs. Smith's because when I was a kid growing up, we used to be able to smell them making the pumpkins like the whole time period before the holidays and everything.
The whole town smelled like
The
pumpkin
whole,
pie.
at least my neighborhood, at
Right.
least this neighborhood,
That's so
smelled
cool.
like pumpkin. And I know that Chris Whitehawk was in on this too.
Okay.
So we would go down to the corner.
Was this part of your scam?
Well,
Your money-making
this wasn't
scam?
necessarily a scam, but it did benefit us. So
Mm-hmm.
there would, always an eye out. We were certainly the budding entrepreneurs.
Right.
We would go down and stand at the corner of Hanover and King Street, there where Record World is,
Yeah, the
across
Mercury,
from
yeah.
Trinity, the Mercury building, right, for people. So we would stand there, and the trucks carrying the pumpkins would come off of Route 100 and come up King Street, which is 663, and then they would turn right and go down Hanover Street.
Sure.
Now, the loading docks for where the factory was are still there. That's the building next to Sherwin-Williams. That's where they used to deliver the pumpkins because those loading docks are right there.
Okay.
Well, as those trucks would come around the corner off of King Street onto Hanover, if they took the curb too wide, they'd hit the curb.
They jump the curb.
They'd jump the curb, and a couple of pumpkins
Will
would pop
pop out.
loose. Yeah. So
what would you do with those pumpkins?
I would take them home
Mm-hmm.
and give them to Judy Green because Judy Green is an excellent baker.
Right.
She could bake some pumpkin pie, pumpkin bread.
So she would be like, young Matthew, where did you get this pumpkin? And you're like,
It
never
fell
you
off-
mind,
it-
mother, just make the pie.
No, I was on it. That fell off the truck
So,
because they couldn't use them. Once that thing hit the ground, hit the pavement, it'd be all bruised up.
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that was another Chris Whitehawk and Matt Green enterprise.
So Robert Flam says that he lived over there, south in Roland, and he said that is right. That it was called Pumpkin Town.
Yeah, I guess
Great.
we'll have to find out what's going
All
on.
right, so good old days of Pottstown story.
Yeah,
for
and,
everyone. And
we
Ray
used-
Amori says he lives over there now. So
Yeah,
Pumpkin
that's
Town.
Ray's neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm
What do
gonna
you have to
do
do?
more
Research is pending, folks.
I'm
on
gonna
Pumpkin
add
Town
it to the neighborhood list.
as to where the name came from. I have no doubt that's what it was called, but
Right.
let's find out where the name came from.
Well, I mean, Chicken Hill.
I'm gonna email.
Chicken Hill is pretty straight up. There used to be a bunch of chicken farms up there. That's why they call it Chicken Hill.
Right, so maybe it's a similar name, like how the name came to be.
So I'm gonna go back to my neighborhood list,
Lots of new names
and
here
I'm
popping
adding
up.
that. And it's Pumpkin
Town.
Town.
Yeah. We got Butch Smale, Heather Foraker, John O'Gorman, Jason Borowski.
I saw Keith
Peg Mullen.
Costello
Thanks,
coming
everyone.
on.
Yeah.
Keith called me yesterday. We had a conversation about what the JJ Radigan sponsorship of the show's going to be. We're gonna. I don't want to give anything away, but
Okay.
it's going to be interesting, and it should be entertaining. And we will all
This is
have
news to
some
me.
benefit from them.
All right.
Huh?
That says news to me.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was a conversation that just happened
Okay.
yesterday. I'll bring you up to speed
That's
after
fine.
the show.
I like being surprised along with the audience.
Yeah, well, I'll bring you up to speed and Kev up to speed so that we're all on the same page.
Right.
And then, so this morning I was a little bit slow in my research. So
I was definitely slow. The state relaxed its, or not relaxed, but changed its definition of essential as related to law firms.
Okay.
So some of the work that we do in our practice
which
is
specifically relating to.
considered essential. So anything supporting government, like the municipal work
Uh-huh.
and the workers' comp and estate planning and all that. So now we're scrambling to bring folks back in a way that's safe.
Gotcha.
So we have to make sure that we're still
Hey, Kev,
safe.
could you bring up the volume, Amy's volume in my headphone? It's a little bit low. Thank you. Yeah, so I was doing some more reading, and I did post this up during my pre-show meditation. I did post this up on the Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate, the COVID-19 resources page. There was another press conference with the governor where he talked about some of the metrics that are going to be
Oh, yeah, I
used.
saw that post
Further
come up.
explained the metrics that are going to be used to
Right.
reopen the state.
Right.
So I did read that. It's mathematical. and
There's
I
a
don't-
lot to
I'm not
digest.
gonna-
Every time these guidelines or parameters or metrics come out, it is a lot of information to digest, folks. Like,
And
a lot.
I'm not a mathematical mind, so it would take me a long time to memorize that.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to do that or trying to re-explain it, I'm not going to butcher it up for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's just posted up there.
The link is there.
The link's there. You can read it for
Take
yourself.
your time to read it and really understand.
I shared that with Robert Flam was sending me some information from the center of the state.
Yeah.
The numbers coming out of the center of the state are not looking good.
No,
man.
and Berks, a friend just posted an article about Berks. Berks has the fastest growing rate in the state. And that is that's right there, folks.
No, it's
and they don't
it's our
have
backyard.
they don't have a dedicated Department of Health.
No, they don't.
So that is, I think,
Part of the
worrisome
problem.
that they don't have. We've got a Department of Health here in Montgomery County,
Right.
and we have a county commissioner who's a medical doctor. And
That helps, right?
Yeah, it definitely helps. Man, was she pissed yesterday, Val Arkush.
Was she?
Ooh, yeah. Apparently, she was getting the commissioner's office was getting some photos of businesses that were not following practices. And she really put out a pretty terse statement. There was a couple of businesses in particular. She said, I'm not going to call them out by name. We're going to give them one chance to comply. But if you don't, we will tell people who you are and tell people to stay away from your business. Serious stuff here, folks. Yeah.
No, it is serious. And I'll let me say two things, and then I'll get to. Well, let me say what Bill Brogley's saying, that he's trying to get some work done back in his office.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, we're not. We will not be having clients come into the office. We will just be the same thing that we've been kind of doing with documents. Sending them for signing and bringing them back, unless it's a real serious kind of end of life situation where somebody needs a will signed. But there's even ways to work around that in person. So.
Yeah, I don't think you can open up the doors.
No,
yet.
we will not be bringing clients back in.
No. What was I gonna? The other thing too is, so when I go fishing up on the Manatawny, that's in Berks County.
The raging Manatawny.
The raging Manatawny, and a lot of the people I see up there are not wearing masks.
Right.
The day that Rob Bickelman and I went up there to go fishing, Rob and I were the only two people that were wearing masks.
Right. Wow.
And not to say that it was crowded, but I mean, Rob and I definitely felt uncomfortable enough that we had enough space to spread out.
Right.
But we were the only two wearing masks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Troublesome. It's unfortunate that I hate to say this, but I think a lot of this stuff is going to break down along. I think it's going to break down along political lines, who you're listening to and who you're getting your information from.
Right.
What you believe.
Right. Right, and how much you trust the government to be giving you good information.
But there's always moderates on every side of the equation.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Kev.
Yeah.
Because, that, you and I have political disagreements, and,
right.
One of my other, buddies that's definitely real conservative, in some ways more conservative than me, it might be because he's a biochemist, but he criticizes everyone on both sides of the equations whenever they say something that's not inherently, predicated upon fact.
Right.
Right. That's
the actually care about facts on every side of the equation.
Yeah. That's his MO as a scientist. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Jennifer and Alexa. Hello.
Jill
Mom's
Kendra
watching,
Diffenderfer, my lovely assistant from Glocker Realty. Paul Bacon.
Yeah, Pam is saying as massage is one of the offerings that she has at Blue Zen, and she says the Massage Association has just released protocol for when they reopen. It's a hot mess. She's going to be wearing a hazmat suit when the time comes. Hard to do your work, but she got to get people safe. Now, they have those places like massage and PT, they're already used to wiping things down and cleaning up in between clients and taking proper precautions.
I guess it depends on what level we're talking about,
Yeah.
Like the truck stop massage parlor might not be so careful.
No, I know that Pam is careful all the time.
I'm not saying that Pam falls into. Please. I am not saying that Pam falls into that.
No,
I'm just saying
other types of less conscientious.
Yes, that's where my concern comes in. Like,
well, then you don't go to those places.
No, I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying I see them.
Right.
There's a couple on the way up to the mountains if you go up 11 and 15.
What, baby dolls?
No, they're like, truck stop massage parlors.
Right.
That's the only way I can describe them.
Right.
Should not be reopening. Casinos. Why on God's green earth?
The last time I went to a casino, I got a rotavirus, which is a stomach virus.
Are you serious?
I'm 100% serious. Okay. I spent a week in the hospital.
From going to a casino?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a compromised digestion, right? So, but when a normal stomach virus hits somebody else, they have, it runs the course in a couple of days. For me, it was a week in the hospital and a full week at home recovering.
Where were you in Vegas?
No. It was up at like Mohegan Sun or Foxwoods. It was in Connecticut.
Okay.
So
one of the Indian casinos.
Yeah. So that's it. I'm never going to a casino again ever. It's already a cesspool of germs at a casino.
Well, every's touching all this stuff.
Oh,
everybody's
my God.
in there smoking.
And plus, the whole time, I was worried about getting roofied. Not that anybody's roofying a 50-year-old woman. There's a lot of other people they could roofie that are, better than me. But I was so concerned I'm like, every time I placed a bet, I would have my hand over my drink, and germ fest.
Yeah,
I don't think casinos need to open.
I'm not a gambler, so
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. But
Yeah.
not and
Paul is saying casinos have a lot of money and their lobbyists can work the system.
and this is what it's going to come down to. And we've talked about this on the show. This
Right.
is how, like, I just read an article last night, which kind of turned me off. They're going to be releasing another billions and billions round money to Wall Street with very little stipulations on it.
Right.
The companies that receive this next round of corporate stimulus will not have to protect jobs. They have no requirements. They will be allowed to use the money to do stock buybacks. Like, all this stuff. That's all the stuff that brought us to where we are.
Right.
And now we're
meanwhile, the PPP, like, we have such specific. We're still trying to digest exactly
right.
how that money has to get
and
used
now these
appropriately.
these guys are going to be getting billions of dollars with maybe one string attached.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, folks. That's what I'm talking
System
about.
is broke.
Its system is broken.
broke.
And that's your money.
We got a lot of people watching. Matt Brooke is back. Hi, Brooke.
Brooke Martin's back.
Susan Rash, Emily Cook, Lisa Vanny. Thanks, everyone.
I'm getting messages from
Jess
other
Rader.
people.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Sorry, man. We just went off on a tangent.
We
We
did.
went from Pumpkin Town to Wall Street in 2 minutes.
It seemed like longer than that, but I have some. We were talking about COVID and how money is gonna. It's money, it's money. So I had a quote. This is one of the things that I was working on the porch,
All right.
and this goes. I think this speaks to what we need to do in order to come up with some reasonable solution to what's happening. And there's going to be people that aren't going to be reasonable, right? We know that.
Always.
You can turn on the news every single day and see people acting in unreasonable ways.
Yes.
And there's followers of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's followers for every color of the rainbow.
Right.
So I found this comment, and when I tell you who said this, it might appeal to some of our more conservative friends, our right-leaning friends. So here's the quote. We must expect reverses, even defeats. They are sent to teach us wisdom and prudence, to call forth greater energies, and to prevent our falling into greater disasters. We must expect reverses, even defeats. They are sent to teach us wisdom and prudence, to call forth greater energies, and to prevent our falling into greater disasters.
Right. So we have to accept that things are going to happen. There might be what we look at as failures, stumbling back. Learn from that.
Learn from it. Call up a greater wisdom within yourself, a greater energy within yourself, to prevent falling into the same thing. You know who said that?
I do not.
Robert E. Lee, the general of the Confederate Army of America.
Right.
So,
Right. So we can find wisdom from all
for
sorts.
all of our rebel friends
sources.
who like flying the rebel flag and want to just run
Listen
right
to
back
your
into
great
everything,
leader.
listen to your great leader, Robert E. Lee.
Which was also the name of the car
On the Dukes of Hazzard. That was my favorite show.
That was a good show, man.
I loved that show.
Yeah.
I must have watched every episode of that show.
Who didn't try to like hop in the car, without using the door? How they used to
Oh,
just jump in the car,
I
try to
tried
slide across the hood. Don't do that when the rivets of your jeans are sticking out.
I tried
Parents
to
will be
do that.
pissed. You
I
leave a
tried to do that in my
extra-
aunt's car. She got so pissed.
You want to talk about a formulaic show? The plot was the same
It's the
every
same
single
time.
episode.
You can still find those
Yeah.
old episodes on TV.
And they play them on the country music television channel.
And I find them occasionally, and I'll watch one or two just for good old times.
You feel like your brain cells.
Yes, the original A-Team. We were watching G.I. Joe, the original episodes of G.I. Joe. We were watching that.
Maybe I should start watching that instead of some of the heavy stuff I've been watching.
Everybody's saying hello back and forth. We've got a
Hi,
lot of
everyone.
different people
Yeah.
tuning into the show. I'm just going to go back real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, so Robert Flam was giving me that's the information coming out of the center of the county that I talked about. It's looking grim.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul Bacon is saying, Paul Kennedy, who is Society of Bacon. His label is Blue Label Foods. Paul Kennedy from Society of Bacon is looking to help out local hog farmers who may have trouble moving product, in particular bellies, shoulders, and loins. He's looking for suppliers from Montgomery, Chester, and Berks County. So, if you know someone, if you're going to a local farm, Paul Bacon is looking for local bacon.
Pam Gormish Doherty just told me about a local farm. What was that one, Pam? Ironstone, down in the 5. They have hogs. Check them out, Paul Bacon.
Who is it?
Ironstone Farms.
Okay.
It's a local small farm that they've got chickens, pigs, and beef. What is that?
Our sun blinds are acting as sails, and that ladder wants to fly.
It wants to fly away. Mm-hmm. Yeah, crazy wind.
I was thinking about Kolb Meats over there in East Coventry.
Mm-hmm.
They do pigs.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff down there in the 5. Yeah, Ironstone Creamery, but it's a farm, and they've got.
Jessica Grader saying that she's not doing anything that requires shoes or a bra.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Andrew's still trying to pimp that tree out on somebody.
There's a tree.
I saw somebody hacking away at it last week.
Really?
Yeah, I guess maybe they only took a few branches. I don't know.
Big old tree at Edgewood Cemetery. If you go through the front gates off of High Street, look to your left, there's a big old tree branch that fell onto the ground.
Yeah.
Please help yourself.
Let's get some Porchcast action. Get that tree gone.
Get it gone.
Yeah.
That's you'll also be doing a community service and helping take care of one of Pottstown's historic cemeteries.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I had my mom's chime in. I had a T-shirt and a remote control car, the Dukes of Hazzard. I was into it. I think there might even have been a Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox or something at some point in time.
Pam says we can do hood slides on her car.
Yeah, I saw that.
You're on, sister.
I don't think anybody wants my fat butt sliding across
this would be a bad time for stupid emergency room visits from the Porchcast cast doing hood slides. We're going to hold off on that for a little while.
Pam, I don't know what kind of tree it is. It was only described to me as a big old tree.
Big and old.
So if you want to take a walk, head on over to Edgewood and take a look at it and see what you think. Cemeteries are very interesting places to take a walk sometimes.
Yeah, that one is beautiful. It's got a lot of really old stones.
You will recognize a lot of names from town in there, too.
And it's it's got a nice hill. You get a good walk through there.
Yeah. I used to go over there sometimes just to take a walk, or when I was on the police department, I used to drive over there and check it out, and I used to get out of the car and look at different stuff.
All right, Paul Bacon, there's a couple more suggestions in the, read the comments, there's some more farm suggestions.
Yeah, Stony Hill. There's a bunch of, I was thinking that, there was a bunch of people who were selling pork and different products at the farm market. So that might be a way to tap into some of that stuff.
Yep. Do we have any actual news?
I
have something.
Yeah.
Today, I don't know if you were going to talk about this, the school lunch.
That's today.
Pickups,
that's Wednesday.
Today,
yeah, so
that's
I will
Wednesday.
talk about that.
They have changed the time on that.
That's right. Matt Moyer called me and reminded me. So what's the new time?
It's 3 to 5 p.m. today at the elementary schools.
Okay.
So previously it had been 3 to 6, but they found that the bulk of people were coming between 3 to 5. So now they've capped it 3 to 5 p.m. for your school food pickups at the elementary schools. You can go through the list.
Right. Yeah. So that's the 4 neighborhood elementary schools. That's Barth, Lincoln, Franklin, and Rupert. Barth, Lincoln, Franklin, Rupert. Today is Wednesday, 3 to 5. Go pick up your lunches and your breakfast. Any school-age child in the borough of Pottstown, which is also the school district of Pottstown, can go to any one of the 4 neighborhood schools and pick up your lunches and your breakfasts. Remember, folks, if you're getting that reusable bag, if you've decided to take the groceries from the cluster. If you've decided to take the groceries, the shelf-stable groceries from the cluster, you can bring your reusable bag back to pick up the lunches and the breakfasts from the school district. And then also, there will be shelf-stable groceries available at one of the school locations today. If you feel that you are in need of those groceries or that assistance, please go and take one of those bags.
Yep.
Victory Bank donated 300 bags to the cluster so that they could pack those reusable bags.
Yep. Very nice.
And the school district is asking for you to bring them back to pick up the lunches and the breakfasts.
Right.
Also, if you know someone, a friend, a family member, a neighbor who lives in Pottstown or the surrounding area and they're struggling with food security, please have them contact, or you contact for them, the Pottstown Cluster of Religious Communities is the borough and the surrounding area's food bank.
Yep.
You will get help with groceries. Also, remember, folks, if you're planning a food drive, if you're planning to raise money for food, please work with the cluster collaboratively. Your food dollars will stretch further by making purchases through the cluster. Also, at the very least, the cluster is tracking the need for overall food security in the borough of Pottstown and the surrounding area. Those programs are need-based. The more need that is shown, the more money that will come into the community to help sustain these programs.
Right.
I am weekly hearing of programs that were happening that are running out of funds. They're running out of money. So that's the stuff that the cluster and Tri-County Network, if I know people have some objections about the cluster. If you don't want to contact the cluster, you can contact Tri-County Network. They're also working on collecting this need, these numbers for food. Like I was saying, there are some programs that are starting to run out of money. They're starting to run out of food. People who have become reliant on those programs are now going to be left in a lurch. If the cluster is aware of those programs and what people are doing, resources can be given and resources can be transferred to those areas that are in need. But we have to know.
You have to know.
You have to
We
know
don't
where the
know
need
what we
is.
don't know.
We don't know what we don't know. So at the very least, report what you're doing to the cluster or to Tri-County Network. And the cluster is Pottstown's Food Bank. And again, I'm on the board of directors there. That's why I make these announcements. I have committed to doing that on every show of Porchcast, and it has worked.
Yes.
We have gotten support from Victory Bank. We've gotten support from Paula and Rob Bickelman. Ray Amori stepped up to the plate and helped out the cluster. The cluster is working with the school district. The cluster is working with other organizations in town. So it is working.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep spreading the message because the message is working. I got invited to the Rotary Business to Business
nice.
Mixer. I provided the Rotary with some information about what they can do to team up with the cluster for a food drive that they're planning on doing.
Right.
So let's keep working together.
Yes. Keith wants us to share the information about Adopt a Pottstown High School Senior. I don't know the I don't know the details on that. So get us
There's a
some detail and
website. There's a website.
Oh, you know, you have a
it's
senior.
a Facebook page, and you can post up a senior to get adopted.
Okay.
And then what they're doing is they're giving like care packages or buying gifts for these high school Pottstown seniors.
Okay.
You have to be the parent of the senior in order to post that kid up for adoption.
Yes.
That's what they're requesting.
Got it.
And I would imagine, now I know I'm going to get 20 phone calls after the show. Well, there's a lot of kids in Pottstown that don't have parents.
Right.
Okay. If
you need to be some sort of a guardian or legally responsible for that child.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
To be able to offer them up for quote-unquote adoption. It's not real adoption.
Right.
It's like the same kind of Deb Penrod, Matt Green adoption.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's that program there. It is a Facebook page. You can find it by Googling Pottstown Seniors.
Yeah, and if you already like any of the Pottstown School District or Friends of Pottstown Public Education, any of those pages,
you will see some of that stuff starting to pop up there.
Yeah, I see lots of yard signs are starting to go up.
Feel free to post that up, the link up to it. Anyway. Or the kids can post themselves. All right, there you go.
Right.
I know that's what's going on. My son apparently has already been adopted. His mother took care of his post for him, and he sent me copies of his post yesterday. So I saw that he was wearing his Temple shirt since that's where he has committed to
was
go.
A nice post about that. Yeah, Bill says the tree is not totally down. In the cemetery.
People are working on it.
All right, work on that. Start hacking that thing up, folks.
Get busy. All right. We talked about the cluster.
Yeah.
Also talked about Tri-County Network. Remember, Tri-County Network is working to be the clearinghouse for need and need fulfillment for nonprofits and small business. Right? Nonprofits and small business.
Yep.
You can contact the Tri-County Network and get a whole list of information about grants and assistance that are available to nonprofits and small businesses. You can also find out needs in the community. If you have a need, you can post it up there. If you can fulfill a need.
Yeah, if you've got a stockpile of masks or gloves or
whatever, you're offering services or advice or working to, like the Rotary was looking for different organizations that they could possibly assist. So I pointed the Rotary in the direction of the Tri-County Network.
Right.
There is someone out there who needs your help.
Yeah.
So Tri-County Network is working with the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce and Pottstown Area Health and Wellness to fulfill need and identify need within the community. Howard Brown and Asia Cooper have done an extremely good amount of research to identify grants and loans that are available to nonprofits and small business. They are giving that information to Holly Parker.
Great.
And then Holly Parker is helping people link up with what they need. All good contributors to Pottstown.
Excellent.
And I'm glad that I am friends with Howard and Holly. It makes me feel good that I'm friends with contributors.
Yeah. Movers and shakers in our community. In our Pottstown community, working together. Pottstown really knows how to rally.
I think we're doing a good job, and like we've talked about before, it was one of the recommendations that was made by the Urban Land Institute over the course of the past year was that there needs to be more organization and more working together.
Yeah, more consolidation of efforts instead of everybody kind of spinning the plates on their own.
Yes.
Work together so that you're not reinventing the wheel every single time.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm glad
Pottstown is amazing. I agree. We're not running for mayor. I'm not running for mayor, Robert. Not going to happen.
Paula and Rob Bickelman are going to the cluster today to drop off the... Paula and Rob do the delivery for the shelf-stable groceries.
Right, so they take the grocery items from the cluster to the school district distribution spots.
Because what they've done over at the cluster is, just so everybody knows, they have two separate groups. There's a group of people that are actually working inside the cluster, and then there's a separate group of people who do the deliveries out to the school.
Right.
That way, what they're trying to do is set up some protocols to keep the cluster clean, so to speak.
Sure.
They don't want to have some kind of outbreak or have some kind of contamination inside of the cluster.
Right.
Because that's where the stuff is.
Right.
That's literally where the food bank is.
Yeah.
So I applaud Barb Willamy and the rest of the folks for their thinking on
for
that.
their diligence to keeping everyone safe. There's like a monsoon out there, folks.
It's windy. It is windy.
I
have been asked to. Has anybody ever suggested that you run for mayor, Amy?
We represent the borough at my place of employment.
Right.
So that would be a conflict of interest.
Somebody did try to get me to run for mayor a couple of years ago, and
I think Mayor Hendrick is doing a great job.
I'm not saying she's not.
Yeah, she's a good cheerleader.
Yeah, some people suggested I run for mayor because I do have a law enforcement background, and in Pottstown, the mayor is in charge of the police department. We haven't really had a mayor that's fully acted in that capacity.
Right.
And some people were saying that because I came from a law enforcement background, I'd be able to do more of that.
Pottstown has a very long history of female mayors. When was our last male mayor?
I don't remember.
Right?
Jamison, maybe.
I don't recognize that name. Because it was Ann Jones for a long time.
It was.
And then Sharon Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now.
Whoa.
Oh, and then Bonnie Heath.
And Bonnie, of course. Yep. Yeah. Interesting. Just a good.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't think I'm gonna run for mayor. Barry Robertson. Barry Robertson was the last one. Yeah.
I thought he was wasn't he a school board guy too?
He may have been on the school board at some point.
Am I confusing him with somebody?
So let's, we had talked about politicians before a little bit, and I kind of did it in a veiled way, and then you took the veil right off of it.
What did I do? Wait, what did I do?
When you
just right now, today?
No.
Oh,
I think it was the last episode where you showed the editorial.
Oh, right.
The comic.
Yes,
right?
I was just showing the paper. I was just showing what was in the paper yesterday.
Well, anybody who heard me talk
about the snake oil.
Yeah, the snake oil salesman. I gave a little brief history.
You were doing that in a more general way.
So
I was showing the cartoon.
I did do today. Remember I talked that I would also talk about carnival barkers. Okay?
Yes.
So I did my research.
Okay.
And I have the historical research on where that came from.
Okay.
So in the 15th century, the etymology of the name.
That's the 1400s.
Yes.
Yeah.
A barker was a noisy fellow. A barker was a noisy fellow.
Mm-hmm.
By the 17th century, that had come to be known as a loud assistant or salesman. A barker. A loud assistant or salesman. Now, the carnival barker is the guy who stands out in front of the carnival or the sideshow or the boardwalk.
Step right in.
Hooray! Hooray!
Step
Hooray!
Right in. 5 cents bearded lady.
Yeah, 5. We got a bearded lady in here.
You get to see the bearded lady for free.
We got female mud wrestlers.
Right.
We got all kinds of actions.
Mermaid baby.
Mermaid babies.
Yeah.
We got a cure for the corona. Hooray, hooray, hooray.
Step right in.
Yeah. So that's the carnival barker. Now, they didn't like being called barkers. The carnival barkers did not like being called barkers.
They thought that was a derogatory term.
It was derogatory. So they preferred to be talkers. They wanted to be called talkers. So the talker was the guy who would stand out there and encourage you to come into the show or come into the store and see what was in there. And it was often carnival-esque stuff. Bearded ladies, strong men.
Yeah, freak show kind of stuff.
Freak show things. Things that were shocking to the conscience maybe at that time. Like, a woman in a bikini, let's say. Or 2 women in bikinis arm wrestling, you know. Something that at that time was shocking to the conscience. But they would say and do all kinds of things to get people's attention to come inside the tent, come inside the show. I have something for you.
To entice the folks.
Entice the folks with all kinds of outrageous claims. That's the history of the carnival barker.
Yeah.
So, sometimes when you turn on TV, you may see a modern day carnival barker.
Trying to get you to step right in.
Hooray, hooray, hooray. Run right back into the broken economy. Hooray,
If there
hooray,
is
hooray.
a political cartoon next week depicting a carnival barker, I'm going to say that's it. Matt's some sort of
I got a big tent
telepathic-
here. It burned down last week. Don't worry about it. It's all fixed up. Come back on in.
Yep. Interesting. Carnival talker does not have the same ring.
Talker. Yeah.
Doesn't have the same ring.
Carnival barkers.
Yeah.
That's the etymology there.
Yep.
That's the history. Now everybody's going to say, Matt, how do you know about history? Now all of a sudden you're some kind of history expert. I am.
Yes.
I am. I study
You're just
political.
making that up. You actually did the research. You did the research.
I studied political
do you wanna
science,
tell me
American history, and sociology in college.
Thanks.
A little bit.
Robert Flam says, you make a great mayor, Matt, but your speeches would go on forever.
I'm the talker.
You are the talker.
You could tune
I
in.
am happy to be the Robin to your Howard. Happy.
You do a good job, though. I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to read through the
Yeah. Audra's telling a story about going to a real carnival.
Yeah, the human blockhead. That's the guy that would bang
human
nails.
blockhead?
Yeah, the human blockhead's the guy that could like ram a nail up his nose or in his ear. He would stick pins in his skin. Maybe he hit himself in the head with hammers and
After
stuff.
the show, he showed my friend and I how he banged nails into his face. Anyone can do it. Not willing to try.
Yeah.
Not anyone should.
Yeah.
Not
the
anyone
human
should do
blockheads.
it.
And it's isn't it interesting that the carnival barker and the blockhead hang out together? Right?
Yes.
They're friends.
Yeah. So
There's a lot of analogies there. There's a lot of
The
analogies.
so we talked about Slim the Hammerman on the show
Yes.
before, and there was another guy, the Mighty Atom, that kind of
He was a strong man.
and he did that kind of stuff too, like bed of nails, laying on the bed of nails.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he
so-
also had health potions and tonics. I'm not saying he was a snake oil salesman, but he had like health tonics and things like that he sold. He was a little bit ahead of his time on the health tonics.
So he was like a snake oil / carnivore bar.
Yeah, but I don't think he was a shyster. I think he actually had
He believed like
health
like
tonics
some
that
tonics.
were actually valid.
And some of the stuff that the
Yeah.
snake oil salesman sold might not have been detrimental to your health, but it certainly wasn't going to cure everything that they
It
claimed.
might not have had the approval of it. Well, they might not even have had the FDA back then.
No.
Yeah.
Audra the Hammer Ross apparently had her own little blockhead routine that she
Yeah.
used to do. The plastic swords, the cocktail swords.
I would bang those plastic swords into my
Audra, there's
face.
some. Listen,
love
I'm
that.
saying this. When we start taking Porchcast around, there's some free beers, and you bringing that back.
Yep, let's see those
Let's
plastic
see
swords.
it. I want to see them disappear into
Yeah,
your
P.S.
eyeball.
When
or
was the
something.
last time you saw a plastic sword at a bar?
If Audra's willing to do the demonstration for us,
We will
I'll find
the
them.
plastic
I'll
swords.
find them.
They don't typically. You don't have those anymore. They used to have, put the cherry or whatever on those plastic swords.
Yes, yes. I used to
Man,
love those things. My brother and
We
I
really
would like
run the
fight with
gamut
them.
today, folks.
Kenny Butler is watching. Well, yesterday's show felt like Yesterday's show felt like it got a little intense because
Well,
we were,
Levi came on to give all that information.
and then we talked about stimulus money going
Yeah.
to corporations and all
Right.
of that stuff. So today
Yeah.
we have to bounce back from some of that stuff.
We do have fun. I always know about what time it is when Harrison comes down to make his lunch,
Right.
get his
And
coffee.
he tuned in right. I saw him laughing at some of the stuff that we did. So if we can make a 19-year-old laugh,
Yep.
I think we're on to something.
I don't know if he's.
Why am I laughing?
I don't know if he's laughing with us,
Or at us.
at us. I don't know. I'll take it either way.
Any press is good press.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would.
Keith
really-
Costello. Yeah, I think I'm caught up on the.
On the comments.
comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Kevin Krause is saying that
Oh,
they might have
those swords.
they might have those swords at the Elks. The Elks.
Probably Kevin.
The Elks could be a potential location for a Porchcast.
They can pour a drink there.
Are you?
I'm a member.
You're a member.
I'm a member. Levi's been a member for years, and then I joined about 2 years ago. Actually, Kevin's wife Amber was my sponsor, and I love
I'm
it
trying
there.
to think about all the places because I like that idea that you had for Porchcast where during the live show we kind of take it to some place like a bar or a restaurant where we can do like a happy hour and have everybody join in the show.
Yeah.
So the Elks would be a good place for that.
Yep.
I talked to Keith at JJ Radigan's about that. I think Pub would be a good place
The
for
pub
that.
was the first place we talked about, sitting in the window like Good
Yeah.
Morning America.
So we have a little list there.
Yeah.
But if Audra's willing to put some plastic swords in her face,
We
over
will
at
find the
Elks,
swords.
I'm making that happen.
All right.
I'll even pay for her
Kevin,
beers.
you let us know if they indeed do have those swords. I bet you they do.
Ray wants to be an advisor to the mayor if I run for mayor. Ray Amori did post up some good advice, and I did put it on the resource link,
Okay.
and I believe I also posted it on the Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate wall. Since a lot of people are at their houses more, we're putting more stress and strain on
Sure.
our systems,
Yes.
electrical systems,
Yep.
plumbing systems. So Ray, who's an electrician and
Mm-hmm.
a plumber, sent me a really good informational graphic about things that you can do to help protect your home from causing electrical fires or having
Yeah.
electrical problems. And like I said before, I didn't think about that, but of course, Ray's an expert in that. He did
Right.
think about it.
Right.
So that information's up there, folks. And again,
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what our electric bill is this month. I know our electric bill at the office
yeah,
was a quarter of what it typically is.
right.
Right? Because
Yeah.
nobody's there.
Yeah.
So
But your home electric bill might be a little bit higher.
it might be a little bit higher, although, Levi's not driving his car at all, so that's not charging.
Right.
But we're here running computers and lights and the dishwasher every 5 seconds and all of that. So
And a set of Porchcast.
yes, yes, and all of this electronics.
Yeah,
and the water bill. See what the water bill
Yeah,
will
the
be.
water bill might be a little bit higher.
Right. So all that stuff's going to go up at home. My office
I
expenses
do
are going
know
down.
that I open up the refrigerator like 25 times a day, and like sometimes I do it. I don't even know why I'm doing it. I'm just opening up the refrigerator. Look, like I was doing it the other day over at Chris's house.
Before you just feel like
Yeah.
eating something.
Well, it's not even that because sometimes I don't even get anything out of it.
It's
I'm
just,
like-
you're just looking to make sure it's
just like
still there.
Little brainstorming exercise. Oh, what's in there?
Well, then that I know because you're a little bit
I
of a
do like to
chopped
create,
champion. So
yeah.
so you're inventorying. You're taking an inventory.
Yes.
It's twirling around in there.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yes, I've got frozen peas and carrots. I've got some leftover chicken breast. I've got some chickpeas, and I've got some penne.
Yeah. What can I make?
What can I make? That's easy. Those ingredients I threw out are just as easy.
Yeah, Kevin's saying with the 2 kids at home, the college, the electric bill is up along with the groceries.
Oh, with the groceries, sure.
I didn't do too bad with Adam over. I mean, he doesn't eat a whole lot, and I was making stuff. And then I gave him credit too because if I made something, there was a couple of times when I had leftovers from dinner, and then he would wake up in the morning, and then he was eating some dinner leftovers for breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did all right stretching it out. He
Yeah.
decided to go back to his mom's house, but I did do okay while he was there.
We eat a lot of leftovers over here. Hey, Kevin, is your daughter baking while she's home? Because she's at Johnson Wales.
Oh, Johnson and Wales. They have a really
so is
great
she creating
culinary program.
some things while she's home? Is she doing the cooking?
I'm pretty sure that's where Grumpy went.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Grumpy
Yes.
went to Johnson
Yep.
and Wales too.
Yes, he did.
They're open for carry out, and they will not let you in if you're not wearing a mask.
Yep.
So put your mask on before
your
you go
mask
into
on.
Grumpy's. Yeah, Sunnybrook at Gatsby's isn't open to the public anymore.
Yeah, no, it's
Robert,
just
they're
just,
just doing events there now.
Right.
Although I'm sure that they would let us in to do a show, but I'd have to talk to Chuck about that, and I know a couple other people over there. We'll have to put Sunnybrook on the reserve list based on future resources. I'm thinking of the places that we can get into quick, right off the bat. Quick, Kurt Heidel is saying, quick, who has the best 64-ounce Bloody Mary in Pottstown?
To go. A 64
Ounce
ounce to
Bloody-
go Bloody Mary? That's enormous.
Well, Kiki's, that's like
Yeah.
that's a half a gallon of Bloody Mary.
That is way more than your daily source of vitamin C.
Exactly how
Kiki's.
much you need to get.
Yeah.
Kiki's Vodka is doing the premixed cocktails, but I'm not sure that they have Bloody Marys. Do they? I'm not a
I
cocktail
believe they do
guy.
have Bloody Marys, but I don't know about 64 ounces. That's
Kurt.
big. This is 32, so it's double that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kurt, check out Kiki's, man. They're doing those premixes.
Yeah. All right.
There's
Kevin's-
not enough room for her.
some bread and brownies. All right, that
Yeah.
sounds good though.
That's what I've done so far. I've done bread. I've done brownies. Yeah, that's it.
I am not a
made some
big baker.
cookies.
I do bake at Passover. That's like the only time that I bake. But I did buy that. I bought 2 different brownie pans from Tara Cifelli,
Cifelli.
the Pampered Chef, and I've been making these little egg souffles in the bigger brownie pan, like individual egg souffles. We like those for breakfast.
No, that's a good idea that you had, and I think I've done that before with cupcake pans. But that stuff that Tara Cifelli is
Yeah.
using from Pampered Chef, that's good. I remember Tara's a local person, so if you want to order some Pampered Chef stuff, go to Tara Cifelli.
Yeah, their stuff is really good quality.
I bought that
The
that
ceramic
ceramic
knife. Did you use that?
I've been using it.
Great.
Yeah, so I made clam chowder the
Mm-hmm.
other day. And I use the ceramic knife for that, and I use it for a couple other things. Man, that thing's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's super sharp.
Don't cut yourself. You don't want to go to the emergency room.
I didn't cut myself with my ceramic knife yet.
Uh-huh.
I cut myself with my fillet knife
When you were cleaning
yesterday.
fishes.
I was cleaning fishes for my little trip yesterday.
More trout?
Yes.
Yeah.
I caught. I kept a white sucker. It swallowed the hook down so deep, and it was bleeding, and I knew it wasn't going to make it, so I kept it. I had never eaten a sucker before.
Is that like
I
a
tr-
bottom feeder?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
No problems. I cleaned it up. I got a couple of decent sized fillets off of it. I fried it up in some walnut oil with some butter, and I added some Cajun Creole seasoning.
Right.
No problem.
Good.
And Chris, who's normally a very picky eater, even tried some and liked it.
Great.
So, yeah,
Bled all
Paula,
over. Yeah.
Paula, we're definitely going to be at Fine Solutions Properties Porches. We're
Yeah.
definitely going to be at residential properties, talking to people who are rehabbing homes or people that are active in the community. That's
people
that's
that-
going to happen.
People that
And
show why they chose Pottstown.
why they chose
Yeah.
Pottstown. The bulk of the show is going to be that. I'm purely just referring to these live shows that we're going to do where we can get back to this audience participation that everybody has
we
come
like
to
the,
love.
Yeah, we like the
And I
participation.
think it'll be neat too because in some of these bars and restaurants, people will actually be able to come and see the show live and participate live and in person.
Yes.
That's what's going to be fun.
Yes.
Especially after we're able to kind of go back and be around each other. I
Yeah.
think it's still a little bit ways off.
Oh, yeah.
At least for me it is.
Yes, for
I
sure.
know that I am going to be very careful about going back to business.
Yeah.
I am not rushing back in. I've said this before. It's not worth my life to go and make a few thousand
Yeah.
bucks.
Yeah, and I think that my doctor is going to, even when we are fully able to go out
You're
again,
gonna
he's probably
have
going
some
to
more
have me on
restrictions.
some greater restrictions. Robert Flam, you bring a good point about utilities and rent and things. I do not know about rent specifically and what sort of guidelines or parameters or relief there is for rent. You have to check with your individual landlord, but there are the utilities that was in the paper today. Like Comcast is extending its COVID-19 policies. Pico, we talked about,
Pico.
is not shutting anybody off during this time.
I got a 20% discount on my car insurance.
Yes, that's another place that people can save. If you are not working, if you're not commuting every day, contact your auto insurance and tell them, I'm stuck at home. I'm only going out once a week to go to the grocery store, and they might be able to reduce your auto insurance. But places like Comcast, Pico, who's the other one? Verizon. I don't know.
Verizon
Yeah.
just sent I have Verizon.
Okay.
I have their unlimited plan on my cell phone because I use my cell phone for business
Sure.
quite extensively, and they just sent me an email, and I've been given every month I've been given extra data.
Right, and that's what Comcast is doing here, according to this article that was in the paper also.
And then
it's
remember-
pausing its data plan, so
I put up the number to Comcast for their free internet
Mm-hmm.
program for those folks that are qualified. That's on the COVID-19 resources link
Yeah.
that I posted up on the top of Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate. So don't forget about that. Yes, call your service provider because what we're finding out is some service providers aren't telling people that they have things. You have to call and ask for them.
right. So they might not be putting out a big public policy like Comcast is putting out this information publicly, but call and ask. And I don't know. I am not up to what the laws are regarding rents, but you need to talk to your individual landlord if you need some extension or some relief. So,
There's also some information
Yeah.
for renters on the Fannie Mae website, which I also posted a link to. I believe it's fanniemae.com. There is information for renters on that website. It's homeowners, renters, and investors.
Right.
So you might be able to get some relief through there. I don't know how old Robert Flam is,
Yeah.
but if you are a senior citizen or approaching becoming a senior citizen, you might want to contact the county aging services for whatever county you're in. Chester County, Montgomery County, they both have adult and aging services.
Yes.
If you're having problem with housing and you're a senior citizen, call the aging department in your county.
Yep, there are resources
There's
available.
resources available for you.
Yeah. Yeah, we know if you're watching that you have a phone and that you've got access to data. or Wi-Fi, so you can use your phone to do some research, and there are resources out there and available.
Robert, I didn't forget
Yeah.
about your lunch at the Very Best and Hilltop. Believe me, I'm waiting to go back to those places too.
I haven't been to Hilltop in such a long time. I know they have new owners, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
some
talked
people-
about that before
yeah.
on the show. Yeah, Progressive got a 20%
Mm-hmm.
discount. I know that there was some other. I didn't ask for the Progressive. I have Progressive insurance
Okay.
too. I didn't have to ask. I got an email saying
We're
that
doing this.
We're doing
Oh,
this. You're going to get a
interesting.
20% credit. Chris Golden got the same thing from her car insurance
Yeah.
carrier. So check your insurance. Check with them.
Okay.
Or check your email. Or
Yep.
go to your insurance company's website and sign up for email notifications. You might not have done that. For
Right.
instance, there's a lot of people that go to the insurance broker and make their payment at the broker.
Yeah.
You might not be set up to get electronic communication.
Yeah, we definitely are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we are coming up on noon on this
Are
Watch
we?
Watch, which I keep forgetting to put on.
Yeah, the Rumble. I talked to Josh Farman about the Rumble. He's involved in the Rumble, and he's saying that it's not looking so good.
Yeah, they put up a post a few days ago that they were in the process of making a plan. They were holding off on their normally registrations for teams would be open by now.
I get the reference now to the 64-ounce mixed drinks. The PA House is going to allow 64-ounce mixed drinks to go as of today.
Oh, got it.
You know what?
That's interesting to me. Like,
It's still freaky massive.
it is freaky massive. I guess they're probably recommending that you not drink it all at one time, right?
I'm thinking
But
that-
also, like, I don't need to have somebody pre-mix my cocktail. That's just me. First of all, I'm a wine drinker.
Right.
But I would go and get the ingredients to mix a drink. But yeah, all right. Pre-mix
If I
to go.
started, I'm thinking that if I started, and I don't drink liquor, folks. I drink whiskey and bourbon on very rare occasions.
we know what happened the last
Yeah,
time.
yeah. That's literally like the last.
Yeah, I
month.
think you're just about recovered.
Yes. So occasionally I'll drink whiskey and bourbon, mostly beer. But here's what I'm saying. I think that if I started early enough in the day, I could take down 64-ounce Bloody Mary by the end of the day, like over a period of time. I think I could get it done.
I will tell you one of my favorite Pottstown memories. This was a few years ago. So it was Memorial Day weekend. My parents were in town, and there's always a lot of
Sure.
wine and beverages when my parents are here. My mom made paella, which is one of my favorite things.
yeah.
And so the next day was Memorial. That was on a Sunday. The next day was Memorial Day. My parents left to go up to Connecticut, and we went down to the parade, and we were dragging. We were dragging bad. And here comes one of my friends from the neighborhood. I don't want to call her out on air, but she puts down this canvas bag and pulls out a pitcher of Bloody Marys. Now, it wasn't like a container with a screw. It was just, here comes a pitcher. Well, it was like Mary Poppins pulling a lamp out of her bag. Like, here comes this pitcher. Oh, we were so happy to have those Bloody Marys. Fixed us right up.
You know, I have. You know what I do have is Free Will Brewing Company up in Percy will fill a gallon growler.
That's a pretty
So
big growler.
If you
Yeah.
have a gallon growler, they'll fill a gallon growler at Free Will.
Right. So typically, how big, like that growler that you
That's
were
a
filling
60.
up at
That's
JJ's?
64 ounces.
The growler that you filled up at JJ's the other day, how big is that?
I think they
That-
do your typical.
That's 64.
That's
32 and 64.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
typical growler, that's 64 ounces.
that's
So
big.
imagine that growler filled up with Bloody Mary.
Right.
I mean, if you can get a growler of beer, if you can go and get a growler of, let's say, 10% beer,
Right.
or some kind of double IPA or
I
something.
got Russian Imperial Stout last time I was at JJ's.
What was the ABV on your Russian Imperial
Somewhere
Stout?
around 8 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
8 or 10?
It's not as high as some other stouts. I've gotten a lot of stouts that are in the like 12 to 14
Yeah.
range.
Right.
So by the time you get that Bloody Mary mixed up
Yeah.
and everything else, like what do you think the ABV on your
Right.
64? It's
I
probably
don't know.
hanging.
There's a lot of non-alcoholic stuff in there. It's probably not real high.
Yeah. So I guess it doesn't surprise me all that
Yeah,
much.
Kurt's saying they have in NOLA they have drive-through slushy stores. I don't think we're quite there yet,
no,
but we
you
might
can,
be getting
You know
close.
where you can get it? I should probably now I'm talking like if you go up to Raiders Beverage in Boyertown.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what's going on now because since the Rona.
Right.
But
Pre-Rona.
Raiders has adult slushies inside. You could go in there for $5. Does Frank's?
Yeah.
I saw that, and because occasionally I'll go and get the ladies in the office a treat.
Yeah.
And so our Jennifer, our insurance assistant, likes wine, so I'll go to the state store and get her wine. Jill likes sour beers and beer, so I'll go and get them something, you know.
Right.
And so I was in there picking up their treat, and they had the slushies. I was actually going to bring the slushies back for them, but I didn't know how Matt Kennedy would think about that.
So are they in a cup? Or they have to be in
they're
some
in a
sort of
cup.
a closed container?
No,
though, right?
it's just in a cup with a straw.
Who are you now? Wow. Yeah.
David Vaughn is watching.
Yeah. Judy your mom saying, when the parade went up Hanover Street, we drank mimosas while watching. When did a parade go up Hanover Street?
One of them, it was the Memorial Parade. The Memorial Day Parade used to go up Hanover Street, and it stopped at the Pottstown Cemetery.
Oh, okay.
And then they used to do like a little memorial and a 21-gun
Got
salute
it.
and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
there was a parade that came up.
Yeah.
She's going back in the day for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. I think we are getting the high sign.
We're going. All
right,
over.
this was a little trip down memory lane. We ran the gamut on topics over here.
We did.
Yeah, thanks for watching, folks. We had a lot of new names that I saw popping up. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Yep. So here we are at the end of episode 37. 37,
Yeah.
episode 37. Amy Wolf, moving forward with Amy Wolf. I am Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate. Kevin Smith is in our technical department. He is being assisted by Adam Green. We are Porchcast. Let's talk soon.
Have a great day.